How can fossil fuel rich nations help to bridge the energy divide? I mean, a lot of fossil fuel rich nations go, look, this is what we have, this is our resource. We're gonna spend it, we're gonna give it to other people so that they can give us money and it's cheap and it's affordable, yada yada yada. But how can the fossil fuel rich nations help to usher in, I guess, a cleaner tomorrow? Like what could they do?
I mean, I think the easiest is to, the whole adage, teach a man to fish, right? I think it's in, provide support to build the infrastructure to create their own clean energy. Don't constantly be like, oh, we'll sell you stuff, right? It's like, no, we'll provide the money for you to build the solar factory, right? We'll provide the money and the expertise from people from your own country who trained in the UK and in America to come back and train their own folks, right? Like, it doesn't have to be this whole constant service model. It can be, we're going to give you the resources and the expertise to help, ideally with your own people, right? Because it isn't like these folks in these countries don't have people who aren't trained and knowledgeable about these things, and they have an abundance of intelligent individuals in these countries. They just need some direction. They need some opportunity. They need some access. So I think that's the basic, the crux of what should be done.
Okay, interesting. I like it. And I guess the last one, especially with the Glasgow summit and everything happening, we saw clear divisions. Energy rich nations, developing nations on one side, energy rich nations going, well, if we don't sell X, Y, Z, then we're not going to have an economy. Developing nations saying our entire infrastructure is built on what they're selling. And if we do anything now, we don't have the money for it. So, like that was one side. Then you had the other group of people that said, well, change is not easy, but it's not impossible. The other side said that we need to do this not for ourselves, but for those who are yet to come. We have a responsibility and so on and so forth. And because there is this division between the two sides, how can we work globally to bridge the divide? How do we meet somewhere in the middle and then make things better?
Yeah, I think the starting point is to stop talking about the future. Like, oh, generations yet to come. The people here today are already screwed. Right? Like, climate change isn't some far off thing where 100 years together. 100 years from now, yeah, humanity as we know it is in trouble. But right now, we're seeing climate refugees. We're seeing devastating fires across the country, flooding, drought. We're seeing this already. So we need to stop thinking of it as this altruism, we need to save the future framework. I think that falls into a trap of, well, there's time. There is no more time. If we don't start doing stuff now, we're already reached past certain milestones that we should have stopped, right? There's already a limit to what we can do to prevent this. So I think that's the first step. The second aspect of this is we keep seeing this as a philanthropic endeavor. The reality is there's trillions and trillions of dollars that are going to be transferred just in America alone. Globally, it's going to be an untold number of currency transferred to make this happen. That means there's an opportunity to bring so many people out of poverty, right? Like there's an opportunity here for great wealth building, just like an industrial revolution happened when you had Carnegie Mellon and all these others, Carnegie and etc., who became ultra rich during these. There's going to have that, hopefully less of that and more of communities, states, cities being built up. But so I think there needs to be we shouldn't think of this as a philanthropic item, and we shouldn't be thinking about it as some futuristic, endeavor. That is a practical need for today's people, and it's an opportunity from a business, from a social, and fundamentally from a health perspective. And I think changing those two paradigms and how we view it will change the conversation as well in the discourse between these countries that are in drastically different positions in this space.
Do you think if we made renewable energy, like the process of how to create renewable energy, if we put all that under Creative Commons, something that anybody from anywhere can access and put together, would that make a big difference as well, potentially?
I mean, sure. I think right now that the technology that's needed to, say, create a solar panel that we're using as the standard is a little too extractive, right? It requires too much manufacturing and other things. And there's an opportunity, I think, for us to get smarter with how we do that. Going back to the boy who harnessed the wind, right? He clearly didn't have high technology available, right? And he got it done. So I think there needs to be a look at low tech, low intensity methods to do what we're already doing. And having it as having your suggestion, I think, would help that become.
Yeah, and I guess once again, it's not one big thing; it's 1,000 little things that we all do, which will help to really bridge that divide. Excellent, Anthony Kinslow. Thank you very much for today.
Anavdata, appreciate you, buddy.
No problem. No problem.